Welcome. You have reached review time with Imperial. Today's review will be Snowfall, Season 4, Episode 6. Let's get into it. Snowfall is picking right back off of what it left off last week. And so, what you have is Khadijah is on a rampage. She wants revenge for Leon killing her daughter, and she's determined to get it. Of course, Leon is being uh, hiding out. Franklin is helping him hide out, and many people would think when they see this episode, they like all this money they got. How they're not more connected? He's still somewhere in the vicinity somewhere. Why? How they're not connected to ship him somewhere else? If that's the case. Um, so they wasn't up. This is not. They're not well thought out like people that's watching it would think they are. So nevertheless, Scully is thinking God is punishing him. So him and Manboy is at the house. Khadijah wants revenge, and Khadijah is plotting and planning on how she's going to get her revenge. And she's insulting Scully and insulting Manboy, letting them know that they're doing a crap job with getting her revenge. Meanwhile, you got Franklin is at the club. He's setting up for a run with some money and product. Upon leaving out the building, Detective Stern shows up. They're looking for Leon and Fat Boy getting information, and they pretty much at that point open up the trunk of the car. They didn't see it because the drugs is held stashed into the stereo in the car. Now, also somebody might look at this. They got to remember this setting is like late '80s, early '90s. So cops wasn't up on stereos in cars like that. Was just starting to be something new. They wasn't up on like they actually can hide the drugs in the stereo system and all that. So uh, Reed receives a phone call from his dad letting him know that his brother Matt, passed away. But he didn't tell Reed till 2 weeks after Matt had passed away and after the funeral had already happened, because he holds Reed responsible. So Reed, of course, goes on a drinking binge, and he shows up at Franklin's club. And when he shows up at Franklin's club, he's being belligerent. So they called Franklin. He came in, and he pretty much told Franklin that you were supposed to give your boy Leon up. And Franklin said, I had to handle it another way. And so he's like, yo, we all took losses during this process. Why do you think you shouldn't take a loss, pretty much? And Franklin pretty much said he got it under control. And Reed pretty much told him everybody's expendable. Everybody can be replaced, pretty much. So then you go from there. You have Aunt Louie and Uncle Jerome down in Little Rock, Arkansas, with Aunt Louie's friend Candy and her husband Johnny. He's a truck driver. They're struggling in Little Rock, Arkansas. They're struggling, and they think this is a little hick town. Pretty much is, but this is before. It's basically showing you how the drugs came into these areas and turned things for the worse. They might have been dealing with weed and stuff like that, but when the crack and was introduced, it changed neighborhoods. It created the gang territory, because it speak on here how they don't have gangs and stuff down there, but we all know that changed. So this was the beginning of the gangs and everything going on. But Candy and Johnny is struggling. They want to get out of debt. So this is like an opportune. Jerome is feeling some type way because he knows what this is going to do to the community, to them. And so he pretty much, they're giving them how to cook the product, telling them, hey, he gives them a Uzi. Now they had guns, but they didn't have that type of weaponry. And they like, well, what we gonna need all this for? And he like, because he already know what's gonna happen. Once y'all start making the money that y'all making, people gonna be wanting to take what y'all got. So you gonna have to be able to fend them off, And so Jerome see it happening. He pretty much telling Aunt Louie like, yo, this ain't right. You setting these people up for slaughter. Either they gonna become killers or they gonna be killed. And so she pretty much, she's hesitant. Um, she knows she still got to go through with it. So they sitting down with Candy, Johnny, and Candy's brother named Charles. Now, right off the back, you looking at him like he's gonna be a problem, a straight problem, cause he think he fly, and he just gonna be in a mix. So it's gonna be an issue with him. So what happens is they're telling them whatever you do, don't take this product. No matter how high you think you want to get, don't take this product. And they like, hold up, what you giving us that we can't try it and stuff like that. And they pretty much telling them like they seen the worst come out of people taking this, and it'll take you somewhere else. So they really they pretty much telling them like, yo, don't take this for granted, don't take it lightly. So you already know the brother Charles is, he going you see it coming. He gonna be the one to sniff, and you're gonna see how all these people that's pretty much was just smoking weed and using maybe sniffing cocaine as like a party drug, but still functional. How this crack is gonna take them somewhere else, where they zombies, killing, stealing, and everything. So you see the neighborhood, they have a little party where they giving it out to the neighborhood, and the neighborhood is like they high on, and Jerome could see like what's going to happen, and so he's kind of bothered by it, and so he pretty much telling Louis like, look, you just wanted a club, you got money, you got cars, and like what more do you want, Cleopatra? And then she told him he didn't know that Reed is Teddy McDonald, a CIA agent. He didn't know that, and he was like, "Am I the only one that don't know?" And she pretty much said, "No, Leon don't know either." And so he's sitting back like, "Well, that's how Franklin got off of that murder trial or whatever." And so she pretty much told him, "We can't get out of it because we're funding drug wars, and we couldn't get out of it if we wanted to. So we got to do this." So he looking at like, dang. So now Uncle Jerome know. Meanwhile, Reed was smashed. He showed up back at his warehouse. Gustavo was there, woke him up, said there's somebody down there that want to speak to him. And it was another agent that know what Reed is into, and pretty much telling Reed, hey, you let us know what your footprint is and we'll help you out, But we need more money because Reed still lost that shipment with the guns and stuff, and we need more money on the ground so we could get this war in Nicaragua going. So Reed said he'd handle it. So Reed pretty much, he didn't tell Gustavo that his brother died, and he told Gustavo to handle things back here while he goes in Nicaragua and pretty much go handle things down there. Meanwhile, Franklin convinces Leon to tell him where Fatback is, and basically he wants Leon to stay clear, and so he can, Leon is his road dog, so he wants Leon to still be in the game. And you already see that's a fail. You can't it's too much of war. He killed somebody's daughter. You can't have him around. So he telling Leon like, yeah, you going, still run the projects. I need you, but I need you to get Fatback up, and we gonna need Fatback to take the hit, take the hit and turn himself in. So they go talk to Fatback, convince him, tell him they're gonna take care of his family, and if he get in trouble in jail, they're gonna make sure that he's taken care of, and he agrees to it. So he soldiered up. They drop him off at the police station. Meanwhile, they show it on the news that they got and what they charging him from, that he turned himself in. But Khadijah knows Leon was the one that killed her daughter. So Khadijah comes up with a plan. So you see her cooking chemicals and stuff like that. So you like, What's she up to? So she cooking chemicals. Scully come in, and Scully's looking at her, and he's like, "Yo, that stuff smell horrible." So she was like, "I need a lot of money, and I need you to get it to me." Now, Fatback's bail was $1 million. So Franklin already was sending his lawyer guy down there to bail Fatback out. Meanwhile, you show Fatback already was bailed out. When he comes out, it's a girl waiting for him, and you already know from the gate this is a setup. So a girl waiting for him, and he too gullible to. He thinking, the girl pretty much say, yeah, Franklin and Leon sent me to make sure you have a good time. And he's like, oh yes. So she drives him off in a warehouse somewhere, pulls him in, and act like she was great, kiss him, told him he gonna do a threesome. And when he turned his back, Khadijah came out of nowhere and put a pillowcase over his head. So she was cooking a chemical to put him to sleep. So Khadijah is ruthless, and she's smart enough to make that chemical. So he passed out. When he woke up, he was all um, chained up, and so they was burning him with a cigarette, and Khadijah kept asking him like, "Give up Leon." He kept telling her, "I don't know where he is." She ain't believe him, so she started stabbing him, and then every time he wouldn't give her information, she started stabbing him, and she just went off, and she went crazy. And that actress rather, she's the actress that plays on the show CW. So shout out to her. She um, landed another role here on Snowfall. And so you go back to Wanda. Wanda has got clean. She's out of the hospital, but she's back on the street, and she pretty much feels as though she doesn't get help or get somewhere around positivity, she gone relapse. So she reaches out to Leon. Leon called her, and Leon told her to basically go to Franklin's dad's uh, for the homeless, the place he has for the homeless. And so she shows up there, and by the way, the actress named Khadijah, her name is Gifrey Maya or whatever. But back to the story. So when she shows up to Franklin's dad spot for the homeless shelter, he welcomes her in and tells her sit down so he gets some information from her. When she sits down, the reporter shows up, and the reporter shows up pretty much telling the dad, Alton, you need to talk. He like, man, get out of here before I call the cops. And she said pretty much, um, of course, her name is Irene, and she was pretty much telling them, I know everything. I know uh, everything about your son, your wife, everybody that's connected. I know about the CIA is running everything. And he was like, well, pretty much, if you know everything, why you didn't go to the authorities? And she pretty much like, I need somebody from y'all side that's willing to tell the information. And so she's like, I give you 24 hours to figure out what you're going to do or whatever. And at this moment, he got a choice to make. So Franklin and his henchman was walking up to the club. They see a trail of blood, and his fatback dead in front of the store, in front of the club. And they come back and tell Leon. Leon is upset because that was his road dog, and Franklin said he was going to handle it, and he didn't. So Leon is pissed, and so he looked at Franklin, pretty much told Franklin, this is all his fault to begin with because you basically got involved. So Franklin's decisions that he been making has been casualties, and he started this big war. And basically, he chose the wrong side, or he got involved when he should have, stayed neutral or fell back. Nevertheless, he's a big reason why a lot of this is going on. That's what Leon is feeling. So that's pretty much the episode. It was a decent episode. More added to the story, and then you see the trailer coming up for next week, where dad is trying to convince them, listen, we need to get out of this, and we need some backing. And so I don't know how much to the real story of Freeway Ricky Ross that they're going to tap into on everything, or how much they're going to spin it. But if he's not part of this project, it's just crazy. It's his story and he ain't even part of it. So that's interesting. But nevertheless, subscribe to the channel, like the video. If you are a Snowfall watcher, comment. Tell me what you think of the season so far. Till next time.